Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Velvet Lounge Life. And yes, people, we are going to spoil the Joker for you. Not 100%, I would say like 70%. You have to have something left in your pocket when you go and see this movie. It is brilliant. In the maddest, most middle of the drama, craziest human insanity at its best, but its worst way. So I have a warning, and this is very serious. I have a very serious warning for this movie. If you or someone you know is planning to watch this movie, whether it be at home, when it comes home, because obviously eventually it will be on cable, as we know, or in the movie theater where it is right now, if you have mental illness to the point of not knowing what reality is versus fantasy, which this movie is a complete fantasy movie. But if you're having issues with the current state of affairs in the world today, this is not a joke. I suggest that you not see this movie, and or you keep those, if as well as you can, away from seeing this movie. So if your kids have issues, you know they have issues, then why would you have them sit through a movie like this? It might be what could push them over the edge. Now, in saying that, this is a comic book movie. So obviously it is not reality. However, just like if we were to watch Cinderella, or let's say some, Lady and the Tramp, which is a Disney movie about two cute little doggies and it's completely cartooned. There's realities that people could see in those movies. However, the difference is the violence. The violence is choreographed like the best music you've ever heard, ever. However, it is disturbing. I'm sure to some people the imagery will be very disturbing. And some people who may not have mental illness issues might actually, have a few tears. Like, it could be a little disturbing for some people. So that's where I'm going to leave the warnings. It is definitely a rated R movie. As far as sexualization goes, it's, some implied stuff. There's nothing where you're going to be shocked or your jaw is going to hit the floor. If you've watched movies on HBO, Showtime, Stars, the list goes on, then you've seen way more on a show on one of those stations than you will ever see in this movie. However, as I stated before, it's a very, very strong rated R movie, and it is due to the violence. It's also a different type of movie in the best type of way. That's where I'm not going to give a lot away because you really need to see it to appreciate it. I do believe this is an Oscar-worthy movie for several reasons. The acting is superb. Joaquin Phoenix is brilliant. I hope I don't use the word brilliant too much, but there's really no other word. He's supreme, to describe what I saw. And his level of skill is absolutely amazing. He has points, he's definitely an actor who put his entire body into this because, there's some, he lost a lot of weight. He really did. The Joker is kind of emaciated. So he did definitely get physically into a particular form for this movie. The costuming is, I think, fantastic. The set work is pretty cool. I was looking in the background saying, wow, I could resell some of the stuff on eBay. I had to throw an eBay reference in there, of course. Also, the direction, the directing, the writing, the producing, the videography work, the musical score is perfect in this movie for what occurs as this story is being unfolded. The other thing I would say about this, of course, are the other actors in the movie are absolutely like this. Whoever put together the list of actors and got them to sign on to these various roles did an amazing job. So casting also deserves an award. This is, a realization, if you will, that's what I'm calling it, of R-rated movies. What does that mean to me? I mean, if clowns terrify you, go see your religious soul-finding friends or clergy. Because you might need them after watching this movie. It might make you rethink a few things. It might make you lock more doors. Unfortunately, the Joker, his character is living in a fantasy world sort of set up by his mom, who's also insane. So yes, he's insane and his mother's insane. And she tells him the story about him being related to the Wayne family. So yes, there's references to Bruce Wayne, who becomes Batman. And so the Joker believes his mother that he's, the love child of Bruce Wayne's dad. And obviously that's not true, but he believes a lot of things as reality. And sometimes that's where I think people will look at this and be like, oh my God, this whole thing is not based in, we really don't know the origins 100% of the Joker after watching this movie, because the poor guy has believed all of these lies that he's been told. Now, unfortunately for the liars in his life, a vengeance unknown to humanity practically, as far as what one would do to your own family members, is taken out on them. So yes, he kills his own mom. He killed his dad sometime earlier. He definitely is an equal opportunity sort of murderer. There's a lot of killing in this movie. So, if someone is going to kill their mom and dad, guess what? Friends, neighbors, everybody's in trouble. Everyone better watch out. DC, I believe, is back with a vengeance with this movie. I think they learned their lesson and they were like, you know what? If we're going to put it out there, we're going to put it out there. So I believe that, I'm not saying that every movie will be filled with violence and craziness from DC. I just think that they're paying more attention to the imagery, the soundtrack, all of the other things that I mentioned that are Oscar worthy in this movie. Okay, I'm going to digress a little bit. So I think it was Batman versus Superman or Superman versus Batman. Absolutely horrible movie. It was so dark, you could hardly see what was going on in the movie. So when I say dark, I'm literally talking about turn the lights off darkness. And also the acting of, I hate to say it, Ben Affleck. It was absolutely awful. It made no sense. Why would you cast him as Batman? He wasn't good as any other superhero in the past. None of those are issues in the Joker at all. As a matter of fact, when you leave the movie theater, if your mind is open enough, and then close it back and get back to reality after you leave the theater and throw away your popcorn and beverage container, you will sit there you'll have a conversation hopefully with whoever you went to see the movie with afterwards, because I think it's that type of movie. Why? Because this movie sort of is a twist on things that have been occurring over the last few years. You know, leadership being absolutely insane, saying any crazy clown-like bullcrap and having a bunch of fools believe it, which is frightening, terrifying enough. It's almost like there's some kind of crazy in the water. And then that same leadership robbing, stealing, you know, destroying the environment, not caring about, you know, their own supporters, even though their own supporters are following them around like Dershowitz dolls. And, you know, they're drinking the Kool-Aid, so to speak. Yeah, that's a reference to a mass murder. And, you know, also, you know, the fact that it sort of talks, you know, hits upon the rich stomping on the poor and the poor getting poorer, even though those are the people that perhaps put the government in power. And versus them seeing that they actually have basically destroyed themselves by who they put in power, they decide vengeance is the key, aka the Joker in this movie. You know, corruption, insane, violent acts, like things that we see today that we never thought we would see in the real world. I talked about the political liars and tyrants and the crooks. You know, this all, you know, lots of, you know, folks who are killing folks who folks would look at them and not think they were that type of character. And then they come out of themselves, put on their clown outfit, and they go out there and they wreak havoc. You know, a lot of that is, you know, stuff that's present in this movie that basically references the way the world is today. The citizens of Gotham basically start to follow the Joker. So, you know, sort of Hitler-esque, Trump-esque in that way. And, you know, the Joker thinks that, you know, taking over Gotham is the best thing that could happen to the entire world. You know, if we get this revenge, you know, we'll be in power, etc. Something to remember that I'm going to insert right here is, while all of this is going on and everything I said is occurring, this is how twisted it is. The Joker is in Arkham prison. So, did all of these things actually occur? We know that some of them occurred. That's why he's in Arkham. You know, what's reality to him versus what's crazy violent fantasy. It's all relevant. And that's like some of the stuff I can't spoil for you because you know I normally do 100% spoilers, but this is a movie where you need to not have every iota of everything spoiled. So I already mentioned, you know, the Wayne family. And so what did I say? Bruce Wayne. So yes, the introduction of Batman, but Bruce Wayne does not become Batman in this movie. That I will tell you. I don't even know if there's like the character himself knows he's going to necessarily go that route. But that's once again something I think you need to see in the movie. The Joker is, you know, telling, as I said, all of his happenings while he's in Arkham. And, you know, in the movie, what happens, especially closer to the end, is, you know, bring in the clowns. So there's this, you know, did he escape from prison? Did he let out other criminally insane people? Like, this is all near the end of the movie, so I hate to tell you this. Spoiler alert, obviously. It sounds like that's a setup for the next movie. So will there be another movie? Of course there will. And like I said, the way it was ended, it's obvious. You know, you see the crazy folks running all over the place. Obviously, you know that the Joker isn't going to just sit back and relax and remain locked up, because as we know, the Joker has several reappearances in the DC universe. I know Marvel. I'm an investor in Marvel. So for me to mention Marvel, Marvel. But okay, so in the DC world, it can't be the universe. But it is a really, really good movie. Like I said, it's not even good. Like, you know, my rating system is 1 to 5. This movie is getting a rating of 5. There's no other rating for this movie than 5. Oh my God, it is like crazy. It's insane. Like the imagination, sometimes I think of, you know, certain individuals who create art like this. Sometimes you have to sit there and say that in order for this to be so brilliant, that individual has to have a little bit of madness within themselves. Because where do you come up with this stuff? And also something to keep in mind, which I think is very, very important for you comic book heads. And I used to be a comic book head when I was like a kid up until like my middle teens, is of course this is written for 2019. So there is, you know, some extra, I guess I'll call it, artistic license taken with this movie. So if you think it's going to follow the comic book verbatim, of course it's not. Like, that would make no sense. So, you know, is it really different from the comic book? There's enough of it where it definitely, I'm going to say 70% of it should relate back to the comic books for you. The other 30% is incredibly strong and might take over a percentage of that 70%. So, you know, don't go and see this and think that it's going to be an exact match, because it's not, and I'm okay with that. I didn't hate it at all, obviously, as you can tell. So yes, put on a happy face. Okay, that's not funny. And look at how Joaquin transformed himself by losing so much weight for this movie. Please go see it, enjoy it. You will not regret it. This is definitely a movie, and this is the other part of my review spoiler, I guess I'm going to call it, is I believe that you need to see this movie twice, because it is so interesting that you definitely, if you're really a fan to the man, aka the DC, the Joker, the Batman, and I'm talking about the people that did Batman well, then you definitely should see this twice. You know, whether you see it twice in the theater or see it in the theater and then watch it at home, where you can watch it as many times as you want. But as I stated before, and this is not a joke, please, if you know that people in your family have a propensity to violence, they're on the edge, they have an issue with reality, you know, then please, you know, redirect them in the safest way possible. Or if it's yourself, and don't see this movie. Now, as I stated before, it is a movie. It's not based in reality. But that doesn't mean that there are not those folks out there that won't take things to some crazy extreme, as we can see every single day in the world, especially in the United States as it is today. So thank you so much for visiting the Velvet Lounge Life again. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. What are your thoughts if you saw this movie? If you haven't seen the movie, are you going to see it? Let me know. And also, if you're not going to see it, tell me why. Are you too afraid? Is it going to be too different? Is it because of what you heard in the news? The news, of course, loves to, you know, sort of once in a while make things seem worse than they are. And they should really be concentrating on the White House right now, and trying to make the world a better place, and also give us some happy stories. We like happy stories. So thank you so much. Have a good evening, day, night, afternoon, whatever it is. Crunch in that popcorn. Go see this movie. Take care.